Hello, I'd like to start by welcoming everybody to the CoreTrustSeal YouTube channel and this short presentation on the revision of our requirements that entered into force at the beginning of 2026 and will remain in their effect till the end of 2028. My name is Olivier Rouchon. I'm Research Data Officer at CNRS, and I'm located here at our headquarters in Paris, France. I'm the current chair of the CoreTrustSeal board, and as such, I would like to talk a little bit about the CoreTrustSeal first, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the changes that we have implemented, and then a little bit more details as we move forward. Now let's get started, and a little quick background. As you know, there are several certification standards out there. You may have heard of the Nestor seal and the ISO 16363 seal. That is more of a full-fledged in-person audit. They nicely fit into a 3 layers framework, a kind of bronze, silver, and gold certification system, the CoreTrustSeal being the base. But today, we'll focus specifically on the CoreTrustSeal. So what is the CoreTrustSeal? Overall, the objectives are the same as many other seals and certification frameworks. It is to safeguard the data and give data producers assurances that the appropriate level of care will be provided to their data and materials. It provides the funding bodies that have invested a lot of money in these repositories the confidence that the data will be there for reuse. It also enables the users that are consuming this data to evaluate the services and actions provided by the repositories. And finally, it supports the repositories in order to show to their customer they're serving, as well as their administrative, that they are doing the right thing and they are being efficient in their archiving of the data and distribution of the product that they are the custodian of. So, a little bit more background. You know, of course, that digital objects can be found on the internet, and the idea here is that we want to be able to reliably find these digital objects, make sure that they remain accessible in the long term. Obviously, we know that there are some intellectual property rights in personal information, sensitive information that cannot be freely accessible. But there are potential ways are available to allow people to know where the data is and to request those data with appropriate protections. We want those data to be in usable formats, we want them to be reliable, and we want those digital objects to be able to be referred to in the future using persistent identifiers. The key here is really the time parameter. CoreTrustSeal is an enabler of fair data. It supports the fairness of data over time. Repositories implementing the CoreTrustSeal requirements guarantee that the data will remain fair in the long term. And now a little bit of brief history. The CoreTrustSeal grew out of a Research Data Alliance working group on audit and certification. 2 initiatives that were working on approvals and certification systems, the data seal of approval on one side and the world data system on the other. They came together in 2017 to create a joint core system called the CoreTrustSeal. In that group, it's a group that's governed by a team of your peers, all being volunteers. These folks are volunteered to help out, and we really appreciate them, and we are always looking for more, of course. Thus, if you're interested to join the board, don't hesitate to contact us. The core of the CoreTrustSeal is really the assembly of reviewers. It's people just like you and I who are reviewing applications from your peers. Once you become CoreTrustSeal certified, you will put somebody on this assembly of reviewers, and you will begin, as part of it, to look at applications from other people in the community and help them achieve the CoreTrustSeal. So this assembly of viewers definitively support the community, but it also helps this repository learns about new things going on and keeps them current. It's really a benefit to both the reviewer and the reviewees. So the CoreTrustSeal is a not-for-profit community based with very strong ties with the Research Data Alliance, as I mentioned earlier. It's global, with consumers and peer members all around the world. The board, for example, has representatives across 3 continents, Americas, Europe, and Asia, and it also remains domain agnostic. That means that we don't specialize in a certain domain. We really focus on working with digital objects of whatever discipline they come from. The CoreTrustSeal is a 2-step certification process based on 16 requirements that are documented to kind of guide you through those. The course of actions starts with you doing a self-assessment. You make decisions in your organization or where you think you are on all of these requirements, and then those are submitted. 2 experts then perform independent reviews from each other. The CoreTrustSeal boards look at those to make sure that they are all very similar and that things are being treated fairly across all the different applications. This is a process that allows a kind of third look into them, in addition to the 2 experts. Then these comments will come back to you, and you will be able to make changes and then resubmit the amended application. It usually takes a couple of times, sometimes a little bit more than a couple, but we get these back and we help you become certified. The approved applications are publicly available, which means that you want everything correct in these because you will be advertising what your compliance is and which requirements are met, in which you are working on, etc., etc. There is an administrative fee that helps operate the website, that helps some administrative support, but again, this is primarily driven by volunteers like you. Again, the certification lasts for 3 years, so you are able to claim that certification with 3 years, and then you will renew after that period. So there is a 3-year revision to these requirements, and this is why we're here today. We have been at the end of our 3 years of the version 3 of the requirements in 2025, and we needed to align with the continually and rapid changing nature of the data and information management infrastructures. We also need to be sure that we continue to meet the community expectations. We get input all the time from the community. We want to be sure to feedback this into the process. But we do want to remember that this is a core set of requirements across many disciplines. So sometimes it's a kind of challenge to balance that low barrier entry and set the correct thresholds that will guarantee that one can entrust its data to a certified repository. So the previous set of requirements that everyone's been using up to the end of last year was reviewed in 2022 and was active from 2023 to 2025. It integrated many significant changes which had been inspected and amended through the RDA certification of repository interest group. And this is the exact same exercise that we conducted for the current version 4 of the requirement. I'll come to that right now. So what is the process to revise this? There is actually a lot of work gone into this. Board members and peers reviewed application of the last 3 years. We had a lot of comments on these. We saved them all, we documented all of the things that needed to be changed, things to be added, etc. As you may remember, there were a significant number of amendments to the previous versions. This time, we have tried to keep the number of changes to a minimum and remain as stable as possible. So the board published those suggested changes, surveyed the community, welcomed the feedback, and eventually incorporated all that feedback into a new draft. The board reviewed and revised that draft to make sure we didn't miss anything, any major idea, and then we come to the release of the final version of the requirements, which we have today. So what happened after that revision? Between November 2025 and the new year, there's been a pause on the submissions to transition over to this new version of the requirements. During that period, we tried to clean up and finish existing submissions and begin 2026 accepting new application under these new requirements. Now, let's step back a little bit. Between 2022 and 2024, the CoreTrustSeal conducted a consultation around the levels of curation provided by a repository to their data. The idea beyond this was to shift towards the definition of levels of care and include the additional actions to support active preservation. This started with a discussion paper on the subject, which was shared with our community, and the EOSC Long-Term Data Preservation Task Force to provide feedback. After 2 versions of this document, a position paper was published and endorsed by the CoreTrustSeal board. For more information on the context and definition of these levels, you can refer to the position paper linked at the bottom of this slide. So, in this position paper, the curation levels have evolved into curation and preservation levels, clearly communicating the levels of curation that a repository offers is an essential part of seeking certification against the CoreTrustSeal requirements. To be in scope for the CoreTrustSeal, applicants must also take responsibility for active, long-term digital preservation for a defined, designated community of users. This has been reflected in the requirements 26/2028 and is the most significant change. You will notice a few things. The list of levels has been reversed, and the numbering has been changed going from A to Z, that is to say, from the most favorable level to the least. The levels may be cumulative, i.e. they progress from deposit compliance through initial curation to active preservation. A repository may provide different levels of curation and preservation for different digital objects. And as I said, to qualify for CoreTrustSeal, a repository must demonstrate active preservation to at least some of their holdings. This proposition for change was agreed by the majority of the respondents to the survey. Most of the disagreements were bound to the numbering and wording of the levels, which were slightly different in our proposal from the ones in the position paper. We were asked by the community to stick to it to avoid confusion here and in other initiatives referring to it, which we did. I'll come back to this later. And the request to detail how much evidence is needed for each of the levels is addressed in the extended guidance. In addition, you may note that the European Open Science Cloud, the EOSC, that I just mentioned earlier, has funded the Fidelis project, which has endorsed these curation and preservation levels and even take them forward in the LoRCAP and TTRAM framework. The other typical enhancements are essentially textual changes, as I mentioned. Terminology change to make it more clear to the folks and also highlight the aim for active preservation. So across all the response to these proposed changes, we've had actually good response to those. Of course, it is assumed since all these come from the community, all these requests for change came from the community itself. And so more than 81% agreed with the changes overall, and we had some very good comments and things that we adjusted to make sure that we get full uptake from the community. As you can see, there are no structural change this time. The grouping and numbering of the requirements remain unchanged. The names of the requirements are also stable, except for R8. It's the only requirement description which has been amended. So here are a couple of exchanges of what I was talking about when I mentioned those small changes. Again, these are addition of text to clarify expectations further and suggestions for evidences like diagrams, for example. R8 is a little bit special, as I said, as this is the only requirement for which the name has been updated. Here, we wanted to emphasize the importance of accessibility as the ability to easily be able to find, retrieve, and use the data and metadata over and then understandability. The text has also been extended to reflect this, as shown on this slide. There are absolutely no change on requirements R14 to R16 in the information technology security and requirements. So this is our final slide for today. You have the list of reference documents such as the requirements, the extended guidance, and the glossary. Feel free to take a look at those and ask any questions. As always, let us know at CoreTrustSeal.org. We are happy to take your comments as we are always gathering information because, we will restart that process in less than 3 years now. So I would like to thank you for your time. I hope to see everyone online soon on our YouTube channel. And thank you and have a great day.